Hi there, this is Art and Such with my Rainbow Loom tutorial for Prince Charming from Shrek. He goes with the rest of my Shrek set. For this pattern you're going to need brown bands, gold or yellow bands, white or cream bands, skin tone bands, and for the eyes you can use blue bands or blue beads. I'm going to be using a couple of very small blue beads as I did in my original. And I will show you how you can thread that on using a piece of dental floss or a thin wire. You're going to want a hook and holding hook, some C-clips on hand, and your loom will be in the offset configuration. And we're ready to go. So let's start with the arms. We've got 2 skin tone bands wrapped onto the hook together 1, 2, 3 times, and pulled onto 2 more skin tone bands, and this is going to go on to 7 sets of double white bands or cream bands. Just wanted to say, while I've got you here, I really appreciate all the feedback everybody's been giving me, and I wanted to thank you as well for the ideas and suggestions. I've got my list of characters to make, and I apologize if I haven't got to your request just yet. I know Shrek here, or Prince Charming from Shrek here, is a little bit behind too. Just for what it's worth, some of these are a little trickier than others, so it might take me a little time, but I am trying to get a pattern out for you every couple of weeks. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oops, and 7. And our second arm is going to be done in the exact same way, so you can leave this where it is or put it onto a holding hook. We'll get another 2 skin tone bands, wrap 1, 2, 3, pull onto 2, and then onto 7 sets of double white. I'm also trying really hard to finish off some of the sets that I've started. So I know some of them, like Monster High, there are quite a number of characters left, but I am picking that up now and again to try them again, and Miss Peregrine's is almost finished, so hopefully that one will be all ready for you soon. I do have a number of tutorials out already though, so just keep an eye on my channel, and I'll try and get to the different projects as fast as I can. Alright, we've got our arms. We're going to put this aside and come to the loom. We'll make our legs when we're close to the time to, like, almost ready to put it on. We're starting with 2 skin tone bands, coming from the top center to the second peg down in the center. And from there we're switching to our white or cream, coming down with double bands, second center to second side, second center to the other side, once more in the middle with double white. In the middle we're going to switch to our gold and yellow and come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times with double bands. Show you what that looks like in just a minute here. And that brings you to your 8th peg down, and on either side you're going to come down with double brown bands until you reach the 8th peg down as well. So that should be 6 sets. Hold on. 3, 4, 5, 6 sets. Well, yeah, that should be right, because we had our set of white at the start in that middle row. So it's 4, 5, 6. Your brown should finish off just below your center gold. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Try not to hum. I've got a song stuck in my head, but I don't want to infringe any copyrights. Although, for what it's worth, my humming's generally off tune, so you might not recognize the song anyway. We are going to switch to white now and come down 1, 2, 3, 4 times on each of the rows with double white bands. And it's one of those songs. It's a song I really like, and I hear it on the radio sometimes, but I wanted to listen to it online to get it out of my head, and it's I guess it's copyrighted or whatnot because I can't find the video, only other videos of other songs from the same album. Which isn't quite doing the trick, but that's okay. I'll hum when I'm done the video. Okay, let's make our legs now. Actually, let's put our arms on, and then we'll have our hook free and we can make our legs. So the loops on your hook for the first arm are going to be transferred onto the second peg down on the side closest to you. Mine are all overlapping for some reason. Let's make sure we get them all. And go to the other side, transfer the other arm onto the second peg down on the far side. Okay, for our legs, we're going back to brown. And we're going to take 2 brown, wrap them on the hook 1, 2, 3 times. Put them onto double brown bands. Onto another set of double brown bands. And then we are going to double over a band. Also brown, stretch, twist, put it back onto itself. Put it on the end, keep some tension, and slide it through. And from here we need 6 sets of double brown bands and 1 set of double white band. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then 1 set of double white, cream if you're using cream. And the reason that we did that doubled over band is now you can have a little bit of a bend for the foot. Okay, second leg, we're doing the same thing. 2 brown, wrap on the hook 1, 2, 3 times, pull onto 2 bands, onto 2 more bands, onto a doubled over single band, onto 6 sets. I did 7 originally, so I'm still thinking 7, but we only need 6 sets of double brown. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Get a set of double white, pull it through your second leg, and now you're going to take 2 white bands and slide them through both of your legs and stretch that band across the second peg from the bottom on each side of your loom. So it's going to go across and lays on the last pegs that we used. Get your hook between the legs and pull the bands over the second peg from the bottom in the middle. We're going to use doubled over single holding bands in triangle formation. I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. But the reason is that we are going to add an extension on the side. And if we don't double over our piece, then this is going to be really loose, and we want to emphasize the thinness of the gold in the center and give him a broad body, but without making him really obese. So let's start at the bottom here. We're going to take a white, stretch, twist, double it over, go across your 3rd pegs up from the bottom on each of your rows, and you're going to get a little triangle. And we need to do that 3 more times with the white, 2 or 3 more times. So on the 4th pegs from the bottom, and on the 5th pegs from the bottom, and this next one I'm going to switch to brown. And the rest of the way up until the pegs below the arms, we're going to be doing this with brown. Okay, like so. And the last thing for us to do on the body while it's on the loom is to make our side extensions, and then we can loop it up, make the head, and add our pieces. Okay, side extension. We have a single white wrapped on the hook once and twice, and this is going to go onto 4 sets of double white bands. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to put this, we're gonna continue this chain and have 6 sets of double brown bands. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We will be making 2 of these, 1 for each side, so that everything is balanced and our gold stays central. Okay, the bottom of your chain is going to be a little circle here. You'll see a couple little circles in the bottom loop. Stretch them out, and you're going to put those onto the second peg from the bottom, on the peg that the legs are on. And we're going to take the bands that are on the hook and transfer them onto the peg that has the arms on it. So keep it down, keep it steady, try and keep it straight, and we're going to stretch it up and over. You can see right now it's very loose, so we need to cinch it to the body by taking 1 piece out of each chain and pulling it over. There isn't necessarily a right loop to take, because you can see there are going to be like 8 pieces here, but what I would suggest is to try and take from the same part. So right here I'm looking, these are the outer ones, these are the inner ones, and I'm going to take the one on top from the inside, and I'm going to try to do that for all. So these are outer, these are inner, and I'm taking one that's closer to the top and the inside on the inside piece. Just because we want our chain to not be too twisty, and just keep things straight and smooth here. This one doesn't want to go. There we are. Once you've got each of these pieces secured, you can go back to your white, take a single, wrap it twice, and we're going to make our second chain, second side extension chain. So here's 4 sets of double white. 2, 3, and 4. And we'll need our 6 sets of double brown. Almost ready to loop, guys. So hold on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and attach on the other side. The weight goes on the second peg from the bottom of the loom. Let's make sure we got all of those. And the brown bands on the hook will go onto the second peg from the top of the loom, second peg down. And then we're going to grab 1 part out of each chain again to put onto our pegs. If you're having a hard time reaching or seeing what you're doing, feel free to move your loom around, bring it closer, turn it upside down, whatever helps you to get a better grip, a better view. Okay, once they're all in, we can loop up, and I'm just going to make a little note here. This piece, this piece, this piece, and the hair extensions there are all added in after we've stitched everything up. So if there's anything you want to change or try that will help you incorporate these in a different way, feel free to experiment now. Otherwise, you can go ahead and loop with me. So let's go up the middle first. Go to the second peg from the bottom, get between the legs, take the bottom or the only 2 bands under that peg, grab them, hook pointed up, bring them over the next peg, grab your next 2, bring them up, and we're going to go until you reach the second peg from the top. I did consider trying some of Charming's other outfits, and there were a few to pick from, but I like this one for its simplicity. The colors were easier to work with. And I think it just came out kind of nice. And an added benefit is if you wanted to try Shrek in human form, which I might do at some later point, you could probably base it on this. His outfit's somewhat similar. Okay, looking at the side now, you can see there's a bottom layer of bands, and those are the ones we're going to be looping up. So take your hook, point the open part up and away from you, push back the bands holding the legs and the extension, get the bottom 2 bands and bring them up, forward, and onto the next peg. Push back your holding bands, everything else on the next peg, get your bottom 2, bring them forward. And we're going to continue up this way until we get to the top of the loom. Well, to the arms anyway. Just watch that you're getting those triangle bands pushed back as you go. And if you're feeling a lot of tension on your loom, you can always release some of the lower parts that have already been secured in. At that second peg from the top, you want to get these 2 bands, the ones coming from the second center peg, and bring them to the second center again, through and on top. And we need to loop up the other side. I'm just going to take a couple of these off on the bottom left here. Make it a little bit looser. Now you can see here, my bands are kind of tangled up. It's hard to see, so what you can do is put your hook inside and pull those out a little bit so that it gets easier to access the bottom bands and identify them, for that matter. That's what I was meaning about turning your loom about, I guess. Okay, let's keep going up. I'm going to take a couple of these off on the bottom because, again, I feel this is getting a little tight for me, for my liking. And we keep going straight to the arms. I'm going to mention now, just in case I forget, but I don't think I will, is that we are going to be placing the body upside down onto the loom when we attach it to the head, because we'll be kind of working backwards, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. Just wanted to say that out loud so I would remember. Okay, second peg down, get your bottom 2 skin tone and bring them up, over, and onto the top center peg. Hold on to that peg and you can release your bands from the rest of the loom. And when you are ready, you're going to put your hook into the top center peg's bands and pop the rest of this off. So I just need another minute here. Like I said, this is a little bit tight on my loom, so I want to really loosen this up before I stretch anything out or break anything by popping this off. Hook keeps getting stuck on things. Okay, now I'm ready. Hook through the top center peg, pop it off, give everything a little adjustment. Now this is my back side because my white is showing on top of the brown at the top. This is my front side where the brown is more dominant. So what we'll do is, you can use a separate hook if you want, but I'm just going to use my fingers, pinch it, take the hook out, come back through from the opposite direction so that we're now looking at the back side. We're going to come back to the loom and get the color you'd like for the hair and come down top center to top side with double bands of that color and down once to the other side. Let me just get a hold of my picture here, my pattern. Okay, we're coming down once on each. Oh, actually, I used, and I'll give you an option here, I did use 3 bands here and 3 bands here to make it a little bit thicker. but you can decide whether you would like that or not. I'll use my 3 bands again now. 3 and 3. And then we're coming down on each row 1 time with double hair colored bands. And in the middle we want 3 sets of double skin tone bands. Try to get, for the face, we want ones that are not too stretched out. Just didn't like how twisty those were. I'm going to straighten them a bit. Still kind of twisty. There. Okay. 3 sets of double in this middle, 2 sets of double skin tone bands coming down either side. 2, I'll hold it up to the camera in just a minute. Let's get the rest of the layout here. 2 skin tone bands from the side 4th pegs to the center 5th pegs. Okay, so this is sort of the shape of our face here. We're going to take a single skin tone, stretch, twist, double it over, bring it across your 2nd pegs down, and another one across the 4th pegs down. And we're going to put the eyes on now. So where's my other hair go? Really quickly, if you want to use bands, this is what you're going to do, and then I'll show you what to do with beads. Bands, you take a single wrap 1, 2, 3 times onto your hook, single wrap 1, 2, 3 times, pull them both onto a single skin tone, and try to kind of keep your fingernail in between so that there's a little space between them. That's how to do it with bands or with larger beads. You could do the same thing. This, you may have seen me do this before. If you've got beads with a smaller hole, you can put a piece of dental floss or thin wire or a needle and thread through both of them. Put it through a skin tone band. Bring your floss or whatnot back over and back through the beads from the opposite direction. Pinch and pull, slide onto the middle, and regardless of whatever kind of eyes you've made, you're going to take the band that they're sitting on, put it across your 3rd pegs down on either side. And I want this hook free, so I'm going to place the body now. The bands on your hook are going to go onto the 5th peg down in the center. And one last thing with the eyes, get your hook in between them. This is easier with the bands. Get inside the band the eyes are on and pull it over the 3rd peg down in the center. I'm hoping that the beads are showing with the light there. Here and here. Okay, hair extension, and then there's an extra part that I added on after. You know, I think I'm gonna, no, I like the way this looks, so I'll show you how to add this piece on after, and we'll just do the side of the hair for now. So it's a single hair colored band wrap twice, and pulled onto 2 sets of double bands. Now this is another point where you could, if you wanted, try to add that bottom curl as part of your extension. You know what, I'm tempted. I think I am going to try and do that. So we are just going to add an extra set then. This is 2 sets of hair color and 3 sets. I'll see if I can save you from having one of the pieces to add on. Transfer the bands from your hook onto the 2nd peg down on the side. We're going to stretch our piece down our chain. Take 1 part out of the next chain to go onto the 3rd peg down, and 1 part out of the next chain to go onto the 5th peg down. And your curl is going to jump up to the side, but what I'm hoping is that it'll show up on the bottom here. If not, I will cut and splice the video and we'll try this again the other way. But I'm crossing my fingers that this will be okay. Single wrapped 2 or 3 times, pulled onto 3 sets of double hair colored bands. It's 1, it's 2, and 3. Transfer onto your 2nd peg down on the opposite side there. Take one piece out of each chain. And here's what we have. We are ready to loop up. Go out to that 5th peg down, inside of the neck piece that we added. Find your top 2 bands. Bring them carefully over to the left side, or the side closest to you. The next 2 are going to go to the right, and the next ones are going to go up, and then we can loop straight to the top in the middle. And on either side, we're going for the bottom 2 bands of each set. So push back all the top ones, get your bottom 2, bring them forward. Repeat, repeat, stay inside of your holding bands, and the last ones will be looped to the center. Remember, if you did follow me here, you will have 3 to loop. Opposite side, go to the 4th peg down, get inside and loop up, up, and up. And once more to the middle. And then we're gonna make sure that went on first of all. Doesn't want to stay. Okay, grab another hair colored band. Take your hook, open part pointed away from you. Push your hook down and through all the bands on the top center peg. Latch on that gold band you got ready. Pull it up and through, and as you're coming up you want to turn your hook so that the open part faces up. Put the other side on, and one side will go over the other and over the top of the hook to create a securing knot. You can hold on to this or put it on a C-clip or put it on a hook, and then remove the head from the body. The head from the, not from the body, from the loom. And then we've just got a couple of finishing touches, which are optional, but I'll show you how to go about doing them. Okay, let's press the eyes through, make sure they're kind of even. Turn to the back, put your hook under a couple of nearby bands, and pull your securing band through. Put this onto a C-clip. Like I said, you're probably gonna want a couple handy. I'm just going to leave that loose for the moment there. Okay. And I'm just going to charge up my camera really briefly. I'll be right back and we will finish. Okay, carrying on then. We're going to do the little collar piece here. So grab a couple of gold bands and a C-clip. And this is the part where I always get off camera, so I'm going to try and pay extra close attention here. We're going to come through from the back to the front and try and get to that little V right above where the gold line starts. Take your hook and pull those 2 gold pieces towards the back and put them onto a C-clip. And I'm still holding it in the front as well. You could put it onto a separate hook if that's easier. Okay, so now what we're going to do is grab a spare band. I would suggest brown or white so it sort of blends. And what we'll do is, like I said, I'm trying to get you a really good view here. We're going to go through, let's say, 2 of the top white bands. Right at the top of the arms is where I'm going to aim for. I'm going to grab one of those gold pieces and pull it through the white bands and turn it to the back. Take a brown band and pull it through. Okay. And I'm just going to hold that for a minute, or you can put it on the C-clip. Maybe we'll put it on the C-clip just to make this a little bit easier. So this is the back side, sort of upside down side. You know what? Forget that. I'm just going to put it onto another C-clip just for the moment, just so it doesn't slip away. Ooh, there. Sheesh. Okay, we're going to come back to the front. Look at the other side now. Come through a couple of those white. or the brown if you want. Grab your other gold piece, pull it through, turn to the back. Let's go back to that C-clip where we put the brown. We're going to take one side of the brown, pull it through our far side, like our new side with the gold, and then you can take, let's get that C-clip off again, that was just to hold it for the moment. You can take those two brown bands, put one end over the other, that's one brown band, but two brown loops, and put it onto the C-clip that we put at the bottom there. Okay, so that's the collar. Now if you want, you could try, like you can move around, play with it a little bit. You can place it so that it sits over those white bands or closer in by the neck or whatever. Last thing, or two last things, we're going to do this piece the same way, but if you want, you can just take one or two, stretch them, double them, put them over. What I find though is you don't get the downward bend, and it also tightens the body more than is ideal. So same thing, go through from the back to the front, right under the gold, pull two brown bands through and put them onto a C-clip. Now if you really hate the C-clips, what you can do is weave your finished parts all the way up to where your next C-clip is. I can show you really briefly how you would go about that in a minute if you want. But first let's get this in place. So we're going to be stretching these out like we did with the collar. Go through a couple of the brown pieces on the side. Bring this new brown piece through. We're going to do the same on the other side. I'm actually going to just stretch it right around and do that now. And put those both onto a brown band or a white band or a clear band. It's not going to show up because it's at the back. So this is the back and it's upside down. And oops, I've placed them both onto the same brown band. That's this piece coming through. And this can go onto the C-clip. And I think there's only one more piece, which will only take a second. Oops, there we go. Okay, so here's what we've got for the front now. And very last thing, if you've got a bead or a button, something else you want to use, you can certainly play around with that. To do it with the band, we take a single, wrap it nice and tight about 3 or 4 times, put it onto a doubled over single, and carefully pull one side over the other side, but we don't want to bring it over the knot itself. We want to keep it up here and not all the way over. And you can use another hook to transfer it if you want. I'm gonna just put it onto my finger for the moment, although it will be a little tight. Come through the bottom of the V, same spot, collect that band, pull it to the back, put it on the C-clip. So in the end we've used 3 C-clips, and I was going to show you really quickly, let's say that you finished doing something over here and this was your band. If you wanted to secure it onto the C-clip here, you could go under a band, something close by, bring the far one over the close one, go under another one, bring your further one over the top, and you could do that until you reach the C-clip. So that's if you want to conserve them, but sometimes that does make things a little too tight. Okay, so give your feet a little adjustment, straighten your arms, pop your eyes through. If you've got loose bands, you can secure them with the C-clip. And I think we've covered everything, so let me show you what he looks like. And I will add him to my other Shrek characters playlist, and I thank you for watching. Take care.